The 2025 Formula One season has been a strange one. It's been a season full of uncertainties, randomness, and chaos, which, if you ask me, experienced drivers would be lovely. But as fate would have it, of course, a quarter of the grid are rookies. So you can imagine some have been experiencing troubles in their first full season. However, there are a couple that seem to be doing just fine. We have Oliver Behrman, who has just been keeping quiet and doing the best he can. We have Kimi Antonelli, who has done a stellar job so far considering he is at Mercedes. But most interesting of all, we have Isack Hadjar. Now, I've said it multiple times in the past, but I'm gonna say it again. We, yes, me and you, all thought Hadjar would at best not crash that often. I mean, the cards were there for Isack to be this super mistake-prone driver like Yuki was in his debut year. However, he has not been that and has in fact been one of, if not the best rookie of 2025 so far. It seems he took all the criticism around him personally, since every race weekend there is some good moment for him, whether it's in the qualifying where he gets to Q3 and qualifies well, or in the race where he either does a good move and or gets points. He has been fantastic, and considering he is in the Red Bull family, a Red Bull promotion to the top seems inevitable for him. In theory, this is good since Hadjar can show what he's made of at the front of the grid, but if you've been following this season so far, then I'm sure you already know what the problem is. If Hadjar goes to Red Bull, there is a very real chance that all glimpses of talent and class he has shown thus far could slip away simply because he joined the Red Bull team. Look at Liam Lawson, for example. Liam in 2023 and 2024, for the 11 races he did across both seasons, showed amazing pace and talent. However, when he got the call to Red Bull, all of it slipped away and he still hasn't recovered, which is making it very likely that this once talented driver won't even be on the grid anymore potentially next year. The same thing is happening with Yuki right now as well, so clearly experience doesn't matter, so why wouldn't the same happen to Hadjar? This is the big problem with him at the moment. His career can get really tricky soon, so I thought let's have a good old yap session about this and see where he goes from here. So subscribe if you're new or suffer the consequences, and let's get into the video now. Now, I know there are a lot of Hadjar doubters, and I just want to say a couple things to them. Firstly, I'm going to recap his season so you can see how and why he has been doing good, and secondly, what is wrong with you? I swear, there is a worryingly amount of people who watch this sport with their eyes closed. Like, I get it if you think Hadjar's been doing fine and isn't the best rookie, but to say that he is completely overrated and undeserving, come on now. Anyways, ran over, back to the video. So leading up to the 2025 season, Hadjar was obviously in Formula 2 and performing really great there. In the early season, he took home many of the feature race wins and was overall performing really well. Then in typical F2 Mechachrome lottery bullshit, Isack has his lead cut down in the standings, but he still managed to stay close to his nearest rival, Gabby Bortoleto. And as we head into the final race, Isack needs a good start for his title so he can win it, and I'm sure you know where this is going. F2 is an extremely flawed series, never let anybody tell you otherwise, but he still did great in the season. So after Checo did his best to ruin his life for no reason, Liam went to Red Bull, which opened up a seat for Isack Hadjar. Let's see if he's deserving of it or if he's yet another Red Bull flop. Preseason wouldn't show much like usual since, you know, it's preseason, so by default you can't really read into these things, but it seems he likes his car, which can hopefully lead to a great weekend in Melbourne with no major embarrassment looming over him, because why would that happen? The Friday practices would show something pretty interesting. The Racing Bulls cars were actually pretty decent around here, made evident by Yuki's and Hadjar's race pace being competitive enough for some good points. But of course, in order for that to come true, you need a good quali position. So for Isaac's first F1 quali, he qualifies in 11th, narrowly missing out on Q3 by a 10th, which, make no mistake, is a good first impression and starting point. Plus, let's not forget that it's going to rain on Sunday, which only means more opportunity to perform and get a sneaky result. So with race day arriving, let's see if he can set a good first impression for everyone and not do something stupid like make it only as far as one corner and not even lap one, but the goddamn formation lap before even crashing. What's that? He didn't make it past one corner and not even lap one, but the goddamn formation lap? Uh-oh. Well, look, no matter how you try and spin this, it is one, very sad obviously, since no one deserves to go out like this on their very first race unless they're Mazepin, and two, come on, this is also objectively funny. All preseason long, everyone was saying how these rookies will explode, and it immediately happens. Come on, it's okay to at least chuckle at that. Okay, in all seriousness though, not ideal I would say, and this obviously led to Isack being down in the dumps about it, and now, at just his second race weekend ever, he's already at a crossroads. He can either A, lock in for China and the rest of the season to redeem himself, or B, let his darkness gain control of him and become yet another failed prospect at Red Bull. So let us see what what he does. China comes around and the practices is largely the same from Australia. Racing Bulls show good pace and the drivers have an opportunity for points. So after the sprints conclude, which, let's be real, I don't need to summarize the sprints since nothing ever happens, we now have the real qualifying where Isack seems to have chosen option A since he qualified ahead of Yuki in 9th with his 7th place grid slot. So surely Isack and Yuki can cook like the great drivers they are and get points, right? Yeah, no. While Racing Bulls have built a good car capable of these nice things, it seems that their entire budget went into that specifically since I don't think I've ever seen a team with more horrible strategies in my life ever. And that's me saying something. Like, Ferrari bottle with their strategies, we know that, but at least they still get points. You can't be a midfield team with a good car bottling like this, man. So yeah, after a quite frankly impressive strategy bottle where the team thought pitting was unnecessary, we moved to Japan, which would be a strange one for Isack. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda would get the devil's call to go to Red Bull, and his new teammate would then be Liam Lawson, who I'm sure is in a healthy state of mind. So rinse and repeat, people. Practice good, qualifying good, and the race also good? Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. Racing Bulls did not mess up the strategy and instead played it safe, which sure didn't allow for anything higher than where Isack qualified, but he stayed where he was after Lewis overtook him and got his first points in Formula 1. So now that we know Isack fully chose option A to lock in, this now means that I can stop wasting your time and start speedrunning these next races. Bahrain would be a good old classic Racing Bulls weekend since it was yet another strategy bottle as they went from 12th to 15th with Isack. Jeddah, however, would be much more better for him since despite it not being opposite day, Racing Bulls got it right with the strategy this time, which allowed a mighty drive from Isack to go from 14th to 10th for his second points finishes in F1, even beating off Liam, who was ahead of him. And I guess Isack also beat off everyone at the Racing Bulls team since instead of them doing their best imitation of me on F1 Manager with strategy, they actually decided to start doing their job since in Miami and Imola, Isack finished where he started and scored points at P9, which I know, not exactly super stellar, but considering how these first few races went, this is the equivalent of them winning the damn title, so you gotta give them props for that. And I'll tell you what I think, guys, momentum is a very real thing in sports, since I guess it took that godforsaken team 6 races to realize that if they do good on strategy, they'll get a good result. What? No way, bro. Why didn't I think of that? So in Monaco, after a real good qualifying saw Isack 6 on the grid, all they gotta do is change their tires with everybody else and not get stuck behind a train, and then boom, they get a P6 result, which is thankfully what they do. I mean, they were so good that even Lobotomy Liam got points as well instead of messing him up too. That will change in Spain though, since Liam can't have anything nice, but not for Isack. Isack qualified 9th and in their best showing yet, allowed Isack to cook in the race, which led to a stunning P7 finish. You know, it's like giving a good strategy to your driver could allow them to be competitive with everyone else and show what they're made of. Let's keep it up in Canada with Isack's qualification of 9th in the race, and you know what? I'll let that one slide since they were on a good roll, so I guess it's for old time's sake. So yeah, Isack's season so far has been nothing short than stellar since when his team allows it, Isack can go toe-to-toe with the experienced drivers and show them why he's him. So I'm excited to see how he does for the rest of the season and specifically this week in Austria, since I suspect it'll be a pretty good weekend. So now that we have seen his season and seen how he has proven himself to be a worthy driver on this grid, should he go to Red Bull if called up? Now, to be honest, there are two answers here. There is the good ending and then the true ending. Let's start with the good ending. The good ending would go something along these lines. The 2025 season wraps up and Yuki as the second driver of Red Bull showed no improvement and costed the team way too much, so they drop him for Isack ahead of the new regs in 2026 so he could be on as equal footing as possible to Max Verstappen. This proves to be great for Isack since while he is not as fast as Max, he does just enough to warrant his place at the team with his constant top 6 finishes and a couple of podiums here and there. He continues to hone his craft until he is able to start getting wins on a consistent basis and could even push for the title now that Max has retired out of spite of the sport. Whether Isack gets a title or not is unknown, but he lives happily ever after as a true Red Bull prospect that succeeded. However, this is way too sunshine and rainbows for Red Bull. I mean, a prospect other than Max succeeding at the team? What is this, 2014? Hell nah. Here is the true ending, or the canon ending. What is actually gonna happen is Yuki doesn't perform, so he's replaced by Isack because what do Red Bull have to lose? Isack doesn't really perform in the car, similar to how Yuki and Liam did before him, which significantly significantly hinders his development as a driver, thus leading to his sacking and a troubled Hadjar having his career stained forever. So I guess a simple solution is to simply say no to Red Bull should they want him soon, right? I mean, Isack literally said this in an interview recently, which good on him for realizing it's a dumb move, but what else is there for him? Does he simply play chicken with Red Bull to see when is the time to join the team if ever, or does he stay at Racing Bulls looking for options elsewhere? If he does the latter, then he needs to start looking quick, since let's not forget, Isack is not the only Red Bull prospect at the academy right now. There are many other drivers in the Red Bull development program preventing Isack from simply staying put and seeing where he can go. Because think about it like this, what use is the Red Bull Academy if you never make it to F1 because of another junior hogging up a seat for years? That is what Gasly did from 2018 to 2022. Yeah, he had half a season with Red Bull in 2019, but even after getting dropped, he hoped to get back into the team. And while he was doing that, many prospects never made it to F1 because of him. This is why Red Bull are seemingly throwing in drivers at RB and Red Bull now to prove that they are a worthy and reliable academy. And while most are not that good drivers, there are those few that shine despite Red Bull Academy drivers being passed around more than KD in the NBA. Take Arvin Lindblad for example. Lindblad is arguably one of, if not the most talented academy driver since Max at Red Bull. He has shown tremendous pace and brilliant racecraft at just 17 years old. Now personally, I don't think Isack is under threat since Liam would be likely to get dropped for Arvid, but what if another driver suddenly takes the headlines, which is very possible, you know, since I guarantee you none of you knew about Lindblad before 2024. Red Bull are going to want to put him in F1, which suddenly puts Isack in a hard spot as he'll still be hogging up a spot at the team and could potentially see himself out of the sport if he doesn't find a true team elsewhere. So time is of the essence with Isack. However, if it's any consolation, I think Isack has shown enough talent already that the other teams may consider him should he become a free agent, and of course, his development continues to show improvement. Some teams that could potentially go for Isack in my opinion would be the upper midfield teams like Williams, Aston Martin, or Haas. Personally, I think Williams is the best bet since for some reason, my instincts tell me that after 2026, one of their drivers will leave the team, which should be a no-brainer for Isack, but see, that's the issue. Who knows if Williams could ever get back up to the front of the grid? At least Red Bull have the budget and resources to stay at the front. That thought and temptation could allow Isack to fall into the Red Bull pipeline, which as you know, could ruin him. So as painful as it could be for him to give up a top drive, I hope he uses his senses and realizes that Red Bull is still probably not worth it and should just take his chances with an ambitious midfield team like Williams or Aston. Which yeah, Aston is a very possible option since if you saw my video on George, they're willing to take anyone as long as they have the talent and connections, so never discredit Aston Martin when it comes to any driver moving teams. Anyways, that was the Isack Hadjar dilemma. I really hope he does use his senses and see that while the temptation is enticing at Red Bull, all it's going to lead for him is embarrassment and misery. Until Red Bull fix their issues with the team, I don't think any driver should go there next to Max. And I do feel bad for Max as well since he clearly hates that he always has new teammates and just wants somebody to rely on again. Checo and Ricardo, you will be missed. But yeah, Isack has been doing great so far, so let's see how he'll continue in the sport. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for their continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. And make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.